And given that you taught law, I wondered what you thought might be the sort of essential legal knowledge. What should every Victorian young person know about law in order to participate appropriately in our community?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, we have this aphorism of ignorance is no excuse, which is a pretty terrible thing to say, really, as if the legal system just operates independently of the community that it serves, like it's external. In fact, the most important thing, I think, is understanding the system at least exists. And I think people have a basic understanding that there are independent courts. No one really wants to go to court.
No.
It's not a happy experience. But I think it's important that when we go through a stage, as I think we're going through now, of challenging to institutions, institutions of government, but even broader institutions, we've got to be sure that the people understand, what these institutions stand for, what they do, what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. It's easy to expose their weaknesses.
Yeah.
But we don't do a really good job of exposing their strengths and their importance, and that if you really, I really do understand the importance of challenging institutions to change them. But if it gets to the point where you're just going to destroy that institution with nothing in its place, you've got to know what you're losing as well. So I think in terms of like civic education is a really important part of the picture. We don't live in a community where we'd be comfortable with, government announcements saying how good government is, or courts saying, how good
great
they are. Yeah, because people think, well, that's a sort of, people are sufficiently sceptical about that, and that's a healthy thing. So then you realise, well, we've got to convey that in a way that's meaningful to people, and that they can absorb in a way that's not cynical, that they don't view as a cynical exercise.
Yes.
You can go to a totalitarian regime and they'll be saying the government is fantastic, it's, doing everything for you and everyone else is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
People don't, I think in our society, wouldn't warm to that sort of approach. As Chief Justice, I think I've got an important role in engaging with the community, in feeding the information or supplying the information or context for a lot of the work that we do, so that our communication with the community is not reactive, that we're only being involved when we're responding to a crisis.
Yes.
That we're providing a platform of understanding from which we can deal with these issues, which will be difficult from time to time. And I think putting a face to the court is important. There's risks because we don't want to personalise it in the sense that this particular judge is the sort of spokesperson for this court. We are very much a collegiate institution. We're not just an aggregation of individual people.